that someone was in the back of a Virgin plane and didn't get his meal. And Virgin has wireless on their airplane, so you can literally email and tweet and browse while you're in the plane. And so he sent a tweet that said, you know, I haven't gotten my meal, I'm on Virgin America, or something like that. And the story goes that Virgin America ground marketing people are monitoring whatever people are saying about Virgin America in real time. So they saw this tweet, they radioed the pilot, they told the pilot to tell the flight attendant to take this guy a meal. And so I heard this story, so when I was on Virgin, I sent the tweet that said, you know, at Virgin America, if you're so good, tell the flight attendant to bring me a Coke, I'm in 2A. And so I kept waiting and waiting, and nothing happened. And finally, at Virgin America sent a tweet back to me that said, why don't you just ask the flight attendant? So, you know, I don't know if the apocryphal story is true, but you know, as a speaker, you can never let the truth get in the way of a good story. That is a great story. So the next time you fly Virgin America, you should try that. You know, say that you didn't have a meal, or say that Guy Kawasaki said that if I tweet something, I will get it, and we'll see. So that's Virgin America, how they engage. The next level is where you start selling. And a very good example is Dell Outlet. So, and a very good tweet is save up to 40% on select tax preparation software. And there's a link, offer ends 2/23 at 7 a.m. Central Time. So this is a very interesting thing, because what Dell Outlet does with its 1.5 million followers is that it is now able to promote sales items more or less anytime it wants. So think of the old world. In the old world, you'd write an ad, you'd get it approved by legal, you'd pay an agency to do it, you'd buy a space in CNET or Wired, and maybe 6 weeks later you'd run the first ad. Today with Twitter, you compose something that's up to 140 characters long, it has a link, you blast it out to your 1.5 million followers, and you sell all the text prep software that you want, all the monitors that you want. Let's say if you're Dell and you happen to have 200 refurbished, you know, laptops. Now, it's not worth buying an ad in Wired or CNET for that. On the other hand, you know, maybe it's too much trouble to get it in Dell Outlet stores. Well, now you have a way. You send a tweet that says, you know, get 40% off these Dell notebooks. Why anybody would want to buy a Dell notebook?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Discussion, but you know, that is a way. So imagine the old world. You know, how would you dump 200 old notebooks? Think about that. It's pretty much impossible. If you're a camera manufacturer and you have end-of-year closeouts, or you have an overrun on lenses, or I don't know how your business works, but something like that. You wanted to offer a special album printing discount, something like that. How else could you get the word out to 1.5 million people, fast, free, and all over the world? You know, it's a great way to sell stuff. So that's how Dell uses it. Kogi Barbecue is an even more interesting example. Kogi Barbecue is a street food vendor in Los Angeles, and basically they have about 12 trucks. They sell a combination of Korean Mexican food. So basically you can buy kalbi tacos, for example. And so what Kogi Barbecue does is it tweets where its trucks are going to be. And it tells you, let's see, they're going to be in Pomona in 15 minutes. Naranja, it will arrive in 10 minutes. Let's see here. So Naranja, they're going to, this is yesterday, they'll be there from 4:30 to 10:30 at the Rinks, Anaheim Heights, 300 West Lincoln Boulevard. When Kogi Barbecue does this, 50 to 100 people are waiting when the truck pulls up. So think about this. You're a street food vendor with a truck. Before, you used to drive around, you used to toot your horn, and you hope people come out of buildings, right? The concept of you advertising was impossible. What would you do? Take an ad in the LA Times saying, I'll be at this corner of Naranja at 4:30 p.m.? Could you possibly run an ad in the LA Times that would reach people, that would be effective, cost-effective? Absolutely not. So now, Kogi Barbecue, with a mere 56,470 followers, can tweet that they'll be at any given location, and 50 to 100 people will meet them as the truck arrives. Now, how much better can it get than that? This is a very good example of how you can use Twitter for real-time, free, basically, sales promotion. So that's Kobe Barbecue. Now, another example is support. So far, we've done monitoring. How do you monitor what people are saying about you or your competition? We've seen Virgin engage people with contests, providing tech support, maybe even serving meals on the back of the plane. Selling Dell Outlet dumping laptops, Kobe selling Kalbi tacos. The next one is support. So the great poster child for Twitter support is something called, or an account called Comcast Cares. And this is Frank, and what Frank does is he's always searching for the text Comcast. And he looks for people who are having issues with Comcast billing, Comcast speed, Comcast connectivity, and rather letting the situation exacerbate to the point where it's a whole hassle for everybody, he swoops in and provides tech support. And so I have done this. I have said that, you know, the fastest that Comcast can come and hook up my line is a week. Can you do something for me? And boom, he sees that message. He calls up the local Comcast office, and the truck is there, you know, the next day. Right now, whether it should be the case or not, I think most major brands are monitoring Twitter. They're looking for people mentioning their name, and if they see a mention, particularly a negative mention, they do swoop in and provide tech support. They are really deathly afraid of having a bad reputation on Twitter. Whether that's justified or not is debatable, but it definitely is true. I have had issues with my Honda Odyssey where I typed in a tweet, I'm having an Odyssey with my Odyssey, the run flat tires only last 25,000 miles and only a Honda dealer can change them. I've used, in about 70,000 miles, I've had 7 tires, right? And those tires are $300 each. So I tweeted this, and so the Honda social media person immediately responds. Come to find out, when you buy a car, I didn't know this, you buy a car, you sort of have a separate deal with the tire manufacturer. So you didn't really buy a Honda, you bought a Honda with Michelin tires. So if the tires are bad, it's between you and Michelin, not Honda. It's kind of ass-backwards logic to me, but okay. So then I started tweeting, I cannot believe these Michelin run-flat tires only get 25,000 miles and they're $330 each or $300 each. So then Michelin contacts me. So the long and the short of it is, I got refunds from both. And to their credit, they're constantly monitoring things. Comcast is looking for issues, Michelin, Honda. It really works as a beautiful system. So this is something that you should know both as a consumer of things, if anything ever goes wrong with something you own, as well as a brand. Search for that name. Try to fight the battle at the Twitter level before it exacerbates and becomes this whole customer service scandal. Okay? It's very useful. And Comcast Cares is a very good example. You should look at what Comcast Cares does to see how it's done very well. So that's providing support with Twitter. The next thing is to prospect. So let's say you're a photography store or a finisher or a lab, and you're looking for business. You can run ads in the Yellow Pages. You can hire a so-called SEO expert who's going to charge you $250 an hour to promise that when people type in photography supplies, you will be on the first page of the Google search, and that kind of black magic. Or you can use Twitter. So one easy and logical first search is, show me everybody who's mentioning the word photography. Okay. So in 0.24 seconds, Twitter has found that all these people are using the word photography around the world. Arguably, these people are all prospects for you. However, if you are a local photo shop, a photo lab, or a photo store, that doesn't really help you if someone in Kazakhstan is mentioning photography, or someone in Vancouver if you're in San Francisco, or someone in San Francisco if you're in Anaheim. So the question becomes, how can you narrow that down? So you could do a search for photography only near the Anaheim zip code. So this is photography near this zip